Hi, I'm Ashley Riley, and the book I've chose to do my report on is the Teach Like Your Hair is on Fire, which I thought was a really good book. I thought it had a lot of interesting points. It's kind of hard to narrow it down to just one. But the main thing that I thought was really important was he brings up in the first couple pages about not instilling fear in your students, which today I went in to do one of my observations, and it was at the middle school I had grown up to and went to, and I could hear one of my teachers just right down the hall screaming and yelling at her students, telling them she's going to write them up or she's going to send them out in the hallway and all this stuff just because they weren't sitting in their seat or something like that. And I remembered sitting in her class when I was younger and how much she would yell at us, and I never learned anything in that class because I was always just afraid that, if I didn't get my homework done, she was going to yell at me. If I didn't do this, she was going to yell at me. If I didn't take notes, she was going to yell at me. And I think it's really important that he brought that up because I don't think a lot of teachers nowadays understand that students aren't learning when you're putting fear into the classroom. They need somebody they can trust, and they need someone that they can look up to. And this teacher that I had, she was the exact opposite. And she also smoked really heavily, which I have nothing really against smokers. My grandfather was a smoker. But she smoked so much that every day when she came into class, she'd cough and hack for half of the class period. And she'd have to have a bottle of water in there with her all the time. And she'd be in the middle of teaching and she'd start coughing and hacking. And it was just very clear that, something was wrong. And it got to a point where we'd start laughing when she was coughing and hacking, which isn't a funny thing to laugh about, but it took us completely off the subject matter of the classroom because she was always doing this. And I think it's really important to have somebody that's a role model as a teacher, and he brings that up a lot in his book of the different things that teachers can do to get their students to want to learn and to want to do well in the classroom. And there's I think a lot of, at least the teachers I had, they had lost sight of that, which is really sad. But he brought up a lot of really good points. And I really hope I can be as good of a teacher as he is, because he has taught me so much just by reading this little book. And I really enjoyed it. It had a lot of good stuff in it. And I also liked how he brought up the point about writing, that how teachers use writing as like a punishment now instead of, it being a fun thing for them to do. Because I know when I was in school, if you didn't do something or you made fun of somebody, they'd make you write sentences. They'd make you write 100 sentences of something to make it better. And it didn't make it better, and we didn't learn from our mistake, and we hated writing in the process. And he brought up a good thing with, having the students do a book, having a book contest, have them write their own book, and at the end of the year judge who had the best. And he brought up a lot of good points of how things have just gone completely downhill with some of the teachers today. And his other point was about reading, that students, when they're in class, they're embarrassed to read in front of their other peers because, they don't know how to say the words right, or they can't pronounce them, or they're slow readers. And he brings up the point, of getting students more involved with books, not just textbooks, books that they want to read. And most teachers, if you're going to read in class, you're reading straight from a textbook. And he tries to get away from that and to get people to see that, there's more to reading than just reading out of a textbook when you're a teacher. You want your students to be interested in learning. And that's what I got from the book. And I hope he's got some other books because I'm going to go check them out.